Hey everybody, Scott here with Everything Starts Somewhere. Today we're going to be replacing a regular switch with a dimmer switch. So that's the switch that's in the wall. I'm going to replace it with this Lutron. It's a dimmer. It's just got a little slider on the side that you slide up or down to set how bright you want the light, and then just the switch. Same style as what's already in there, so I can just use the same faceplate. I won't have to do that. And the tools I'm going to use today, I almost always have a pair of Lineman's pliers available when I'm doing this stuff, and also some needle nose pliers. Just to help with getting wires moved around. Got my Klein tools screwdrivers, insulated all the way out to just the very tip. My Klein tools CL800 meter. I'll be just checking to make sure that power is off when I think it is and power is there when I need it. Just a utility knife of some sort here. Doesn't really matter which brand. This is a newer Craftsman. And then my Klein tools wire strippers. Don't know if I'll need those today since I'm just replacing a current switch, but that's what we're working on. All right, so we just need to go ahead and pull this cover off the front of it. You want to be careful when you're taking these off. A lot of times these will get put back on and the paint isn't dry yet, so it'll stick to the paint. So when you peel it off, it's going to tear a bunch of the paint off around it. So I'm going to grab a utility knife and cut right along the edges to make sure that we don't have that issue. So need to get in here now and pull this outlet. Okay, so this is typically what you see is just the black wire going in and black wire coming out. So what happens is inside you'll see that the wires for the common and the ground, they're in there. They're just all tied together. So when the wire bundle comes into the switch box, the whites just get tied together. Your neutrals, the grounds, the plain coppers, they just get tied together. And all you have to do is have the hot come in one side of the switch and go out the other side of the switch to close the circuit. Everything else is all wired together already. So this is pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and pull those out. One will be hot, one will not be hot. Always recommend turning off the circuit breaker that goes to any electrical that you're working on. Coloring's fun here because house wiring is black is hot, white is neutral, copper bare is ground, and then red is a traveler wire for a three-way switch. So this is fun because it's got black, red and white, and green. So green is our ground, black is our hot coming in with power. The red is going to continue on to the light, so this would be our second black from the switch that we have here. And the red and white is just going to get capped off. That would be our traveler wire if we were setting up a three-way switch, but we're not going to, so capped off. This is hot, this is power coming in. This red will continue sending the power onto the light, and the green is our ground. So we'll get the old one pulled out and get this one wired up, and then we'll have a dimmer switch in play. The ground wire, which is just a couple of them, they're already twisted together. So I'm going to need to cut that off, and I'll put a wire nut on to make sure that all of those are pulled tightly together. And this setup is, they're actually pushed in. They've got some screw terminals here that could be used, but they just use the push-in portion. Again, just turning the meter on to volts AC. We can tell right down here, the little wavy line means alternating current. I think it's a decent view right there, alternating current. And I'm just going to check from the hot over to the ground. And remember on this, even though black is hot on house wiring, black is the ground on the meter. So I'm going to put this on the ground wires. So this one's hot, got 116.8 volts, 117.1. So the bottom one here is hot, and the top one is the wire that continues on to the light. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pulled off. Okay, that one goes up to my light. The bottom one, this is the hot one. So I've got my hot one down there. This one is not hot. Just got to strip off some wire. Strip back an appropriate amount, usually about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. So that is my hot, and they included wire nuts, and they've also got, see that little blue cap in there? Let me open these up and I'll show you. Because this new light switch can be used for 3-way or not, they included, so you can see the size difference. The yellows for usually 2-3 wires, and they have the little blue one. That is just to cap off that red and white wire that we're not going to be using. And the rest of those will go to the other wires, connecting those together, and the screws that will go in for this. I'm just going to cap off my red and white striped wire since I don't need that for anything. Screw that small cap on, so it's on there now. And now I need to connect my ground, my hot from the house side line, and then to the load of the light. But I've got to get into my ground wire. This one's hot right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this cap on it. Just move that guy out of the way so I don't accidentally bump into that. This is my group of commons. So this is my ground. And I often see this, it's just pretty tight, and they've got a crimp on there. So just cut that crimp off because it's mashed in there pretty good. So now I've got just my regular exposed copper ground wires in there. So that's going to go to this green wire right here. And there's a bit excess wire sticking off there. I don't want that much. It'll be sticking out of the wire nut that I'm going to put on here. So get rid of that. Going to get this up in place. I usually like to put these on pretty snug. This is 12 gauge wiring. I'm just giving a tug to make sure that that's on there good. It is. And this one's capped off. It's going nowhere. This is my red, which in this case it is the load going up to the light. My line, power coming in from the circuit breaker panel. Get that put on nice and tight. And now I just need to connect this hot. Remember, this one is hot for right now. Doesn't have to be. I always recommend shutting off circuit breakers before you do this, just to make sure you don't juice yourself. Get this screwed down nice and tight. All right, so that's screwed into place. So we have our ground, we have our load, red wire, and we have our hot black wire and switch. Lights coming on, dimmer, nice and bright. Bring it down, so working as advertised. So that's the bulk of it. Now it's just a matter of getting all these wires pushed back in there, and I like the Lineman's pliers for that. Make sure you put your switch in the right way, so off is down, up is on. And let's just go ahead and get these pushed in here now. I'm just keeping my Lineman's pliers closed right now. It just gives me a big end. It's solid to push wires in. Like I said, I'm not opening up the teeth because I don't want it to grip anything and damage any of the insulation on these wires. And they've got these tabs that are on the sides of this. You can leave the tabs on if you're just putting one outlet in a single gang. But you may be putting 2 or 3 in, so you can break these tabs off on the sides to make room so they can fit up flush against each other. And there's enough room for them. All right, so there's a bigger hole where this screw goes through to connect into the box, and just above it and just below it is a tiny threaded one. That's where the cover will screw in. Okay, so you just have to put these screws the rest of the way in. Just going to make sure that this is covering everything. It looks just like it did before. Switch over to my flat tip. Very good. On, off, dim, bright. Excellent. We are all done. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing.